Hello, and welcome to Leadership as a Philosophy, Not a Checklist. Book discussion 24, big book, but it's Exodus chapter 18, an Ordinary Men episode. Now, I've talked about this before. If you've been following the past few episodes, first of all, we did Ordinary Men, and then Ordinary Men just got me thinking, kind of put me down the rabbit hole, trying to understand stuff. That led me to the Milgram experiment, which did a video on that. Then we did the Stanford Prison Experiment, did a video on that. And then this is the culmination of this sort of mini-series, which is all about the same sort of thing. And it's really kind of an encapsulation of what we're talking about in this entire series. So how did this happen? So we're doing Exodus from the Bible. I had this in my mind because I want to do all of the epics. So I want to do the Epic of Gilgamesh. I want to do the Bhagavad Gita or the Rig Veda or the Mahabharata. I'm still haven't figured out which one's the national epic. I want to do the Iliad and the Odyssey. I want to do the Kalevala. And so I want to try to do a thing on all of these great big ancient stories that we don't even know how old they are, to once again show that this is what leaders are and what we would voluntarily follow. So what happened here? I used to think, I had this in the back of my head because I was raised and read the Bible a lot when I was a kid. For some reason, I kept thinking that there was a version or there was something in the Bible where they talked about the Sanhedrin, and those were the people that were talked something about leadership. And also I remember Moses being humble and having some stuff. And so what happens? I gotta go reread it, right? It happens all the time. And so we're just going to go through this. So where we are is after Moses. If you've read the Bible, if you don't know the story, go read the Bible. It's a good book. So Moses has gone through all of the plagues. He's gotten out of Egypt. They've gone through the Red Sea. Now they're out in the desert wandering around, and Moses' father-in-law shows up. And I'm just going to go through this real quick and see, because we asked the question in Ordinary Men, in the Milgram experiment, and in the Stanford Prison Experiment, if you don't carefully select people to make sure that they can handle power and they're going to make the right decisions and do that sort of thing, then you're going to get crazy results. Bad things will happen. People will do what you let them do. So we have to identify the people. Okay, what are we looking for in people? Well, this is just going to floor you because it makes me think that this was in my consciousness and I just completely forgot about it myself, which means that as a society, we've completely forgot about it. So here we go. And I'm reading a translation, so you can find a bazillion translations of the Bible. This is actually from the Chumash, which is basically it's the Torah. So it's the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and then there's a bunch of commentary from rabbis in it. And so I'm reading that translation. So you can go and look and find whatever Bible you have. There will be different translations of this. Translations is very difficult. I speak a couple of languages, and even real simple stuff doesn't translate well. So let's just go through this. Okay, so what's the problem? Problem is, as we said, father-in-law came to visit. So it was the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moses from the morning until the evening. The father-in-law of Moses saw everything that he was doing to the people, and he said, "What is this thing that you do to the people? Why do you sit alone with all the people standing by you from morning to evening?" Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to seek God. When they have a matter, one comes to me, and I judge between a man and his fellow, and I make known the decrees of God and his teachings." The father-in-law of Moses said to him, "The thing that you do is not good. You will surely become worn out, you as well as the people that is with you." It's a direct out of the book, right? "As well as the people that is with you, for this matter is too hard for you, and you will not be able to do it alone." Okay? So that's the problem. Solution. "Now heed my voice, I shall advise you, and may God be with you. You be a representative to God, and you convey the matters to God. You shall caution them regarding the decrees and the teachings, and you shall make known to them the path in which they should go, and the deeds that they should do. And you shall discern from among the entire people men of accomplishment, God-fearing people, men of truth, people who despise money, and you shall appoint them over the people as leaders of thousands, leaders of hundreds, leaders of 50s, and leaders of 10s. I did the bold for those numbers. They shall judge the people at all times, and it shall be that they shall bring every major matter to you, and every minor matter they shall judge, and it will be eased for you, and they shall bear with you. If you do this thing, I'll do this here. If you do this thing, and God shall command you, then you will be able to endure, and this entire people as well shall arrive at its destination in peace, because they're out in the desert. All right, so what do we make of this? So here, what have we said? The 4 essential characteristics plus the talent. So they should be men of accomplishment, which means they've done some stuff, which means they have some sort of competency or talent, and probably men of accomplishment or people. We can even take out the men, humans, that have done some stuff or had a talent or had some sort of competency. God-fearing people, which means what? That means that they are scared or respectful of something higher than themselves, which is what? Humility. Men of truth, integrity. People who despise money, so they're looking out for corruption. They don't want to be bribed. They're not trying to be corrupted. They don't really seek power, because money is power. And you shall appoint them over the people as leaders of thousands, hundreds, blah, blah, blah. And he says, so this will be better for you if you do this. Well, what's that? That's empathy. So there it all is. Like I said, I read this. I probably read this as a kid or had people read it to me as a kid a bunch of times. I forgot all about this. And here it is. So here it is. They shall judge people at all times. So they're going to be in charge of their group, and they're going to handle the problems of that group. And then if there's a bigger problem that they can't handle, then they go to the next person. They go to the 50. The 50 can't handle it, they go to the hundreds. The 100 can't handle it, they go to the 1,000. Then they go to the big boss. And then it says here, teach them the decrees, make sure they know what they're doing. So even if we were to take it away from the word of God, it's like, here's what you should do. Here's what's right and wrong. Here's the way things should be. Now go out and do that thing. So that's who you should pick. Not people that want power, not people that want money, not people that have gotten a bunch of cool certificates and a bunch of neat little titles after their name. Are they God-fearing? Do they have humility? Do they have integrity? Do they despise corruption? There's who you pick. You take those people and put them in the Milgram experiment, and they're not going to let them hurt anybody. You take these people, put them in ordinary men, they're not going to do it. But it's got to go all the way up. All right, so what is this? What does this look like? Well, if you've been around for a long time, look at this. This is from the hierarchy chapter of my initial series. And what did I do? You have to have leaders at every level. You got to have a leader that's keeping an eye on the managers, or a leader that's keeping an eye on the people. And then that leader's got a leader to go to until you get to the very top. The only thing that I got wrong, or that I didn't really think about, is so you need to have somebody who's in charge of 10 people. So you might have some management types, but this leader, you got 10 managers, okay. You got a leader and there's people under here, there's 10 people. All right, now here's the thing that's going to blow your minds. And this is my opinion only, and I the more I think about it, the more I think it's right because of some experiences that I've had. If you have your organization set up like this, so you have men of accomplishment, integrity, humility, empathy, paying attention, right? And people can go to them to get their problem solved, and it doesn't get problem, it gets kicked up the chain, and everybody in the chain is like that. You don't need a human resources department. In my estimation, and if you're an HR person watching this, think about it. How many of your subunits or how many of the organizations, sub-organizations in your wherever you're working do you have no problems from? Well, there's a leader there. So is the answer, well, we need HR to fix these problems where there's no leaders, or do you put leaders there? Because what happens, right? You outsource the responsibility. They're supposed to judge. They're supposed to have the responsibility. They're supposed to have the accountability. It's like, no, you have to handle this problem. Well, I can't. Well, let's go up to the next leader. I always used to say, I'm going to pass this problem on to the person who I think can make the decision better than me. Right? But sending it, but HR is just the bureaucracy blanket. It's over here. Sorry, I got to move this again. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm doing. So HR is over here in the bureaucracy blanket. Leader's got a problem. Hey, I need to have a leader solve this problem. There was a couple times where I had issues in a previous place that I worked at, and I went to HR saying, here's what I want to do, and they said, no, not yet. And then it got worse because they wouldn't let me make the decision. Not saying that I'm 100% correct, but I should have had that power. You give somebody the power, but people can go complain to somebody outside of the leadership chain. You got to put leaders there. You got to put people, integrity, humility, empathy, and vigilance. And so then you take this. I mean, look, it's right there, and it's in the Bible. It's a good place to start, right? And, we already did the Tao Te Ching. So here's what you're looking for in somebody to be a leader: humility, integrity. See what I mean? So this is the reason I wanted to do all the national epics, because I'm pretty sure we're going to find the same stuff because we found it. So let's go to the next deal. Here's the archetypal leadership model. Here's the characteristics. Here's the talent. So accomplishment, character is going to be a leader or a person in charge. One of the comments that was done by some rabbis on that thing that I just read you was, if you can find somebody that might not be the most humble, or might not be the most they're still have accomplishment, or they weren't great accomplishment but had good character, they'll do. Which I didn't see in the text, But here's our model. So it's sort of like, this isn't, I've said it 100,000 times, not 100,000 times. I've said it 100 times. This is not mine. This is from this. This is from the other thing. So there you go, right? So you find people that are humble, God-fearing. In other words, they respect something higher than themselves. Integrity, men of truth, people who despise money, so vigilant, right? They're not trying to be corrupted. Empathy, and have done some things, not just pieces of paper. And didn't say anything in here about where's your MBA at. Where's your certificate, where's your degree. I laugh. I had to get a degree to get promoted in my last job, in one of my jobs when I was in the Army. And it made me laugh because nothing changed. All it was a piece of paper. There was nothing that I learned in that program that made me somehow indispensable when I got promoted. So that's it. Now, I did the Bible. I always do. When is it published? So here's some pictures of the Gutenberg Bible. So that's it. That's the culmination. It's all there, right? All of that stuff that was said in those other ones where it was, if we changed the environment and screened and picked better people, we had a different result. That was the consistent thing across all of the experiments, right? So that's it. That's the culmination. It's almost like watch these 4 episodes and you don't have to watch all the other stuff. Anyway, that's it. That's sort of the conclusion of the Ordinary Men series that I did. Hopefully you find it interesting. And as always, I genuinely appreciate your time.